Good morning. You know, there's something that's been weighing on my mind concerning this dinner with Bill Maher and President Trump, myself and Dana White. It's bothering the hell out of me, but it's really no shocker. You know, I've always tried to be reasonable and get my news from different sources, not just Fox, although I love Fox News. You know, I've TiVo'd the ABC and NBC World News Tonight. I watch a lot of the Sunday.
This is probably the most famous dinner to happen in the past year or plus.
So the first thing that happens is Bill Maher walks in into the Oval Office, and me and the president were in there, and he has a piece of paper with...
Yes, Kid Rock is not happy. Before we go into that full video, Laura Loomer sent this out. So many consecutives are bending over backward to compliment rabid Trump hater B. Maher. Meanwhile, Maher is complicit in the lawfare machine against President Trump and his administration. He has been cheering on Trump hatred for years, and now Maher wants to rewrite history. Anyone who is praising B. Maher need to be called out, given the fact that Maher has anti-Trump legal representations. I met B. Maher last week when my lawyer and I deposed him on video on Beverly Hills. As many of you know, I have filed a $150 million defamation lawsuit against B. Maher and HBO after Maher falsely accused me of having sex with President Trump last September, when President Trump invited me as his guest to the presidential debate. Okay, before we go into this full analysis of what Laura is sending out, take a look at this.
Good morning. You know, there's something that's been weighing on my mind concerning this dinner with Bill Maher and President Trump, myself and Dana White. It's bothering the hell out of me, but it's really no shocker. You know, I've always tried to be reasonable and get my news from different sources, not just Fox, although I love Fox News. You know, I've TiVo'd the ABC and NBC World News Tonight. I watch a lot of the Sunday news programs. But I mean, what the this dinner, you know, I stuck my neck out to make this dinner happen. You know, there was a chance it could go really bad, and that I might lose the president's trust, you know, over lining this thing up. Thank God it turned out so good. I think it's, like most people, it's such a positive thing for this country, and a message of, you know, having some civility between reasonable people who disagree. That was proven. But what the mainstream media, MSM, I've seen zero on NBC, ABC, CBS. I don't think I've seen anything on CNN. You know, I saw something that the Washington Post is trying to, of course, change the narrative that, you know, that it was a bad thing, or that Bill Maher got played or something. I mean, what the This is something, no matter what your politics are, it should be a positive thing for our country. And I could care less about the accolades. They don't have to mention my name. I could give a shit. But there's no doubt that this is something positive for our country. And none of these mothers can say anything about it. That tells you everything you need to know about these people. I mean, I'm done with them. I'm not in this cancel culture, boycott bullshit. You do what you want, but until there's some changes at these places at the highest levels, people who run these news organizations, who anchors too, who report this news, because you're nothing but puppets. You sit there and read off your prompter, call yourself a journalistic reporter, this, that, and the other. You have no backbone. You know, most of you know this is a positive thing that really helps our country out, but I guess it paints President Trump in some sort of good light. So you're like, no, we're not going to report on it. And I mean, that goes, I haven't even seen anything on the local news here in Nashville where I live. And I can only assume that comes from the top. They're sitting up in your high offices making decisions that do nothing but hurt and divide our country. In my book, Euchre's our public enemy number one. God. So there. I got it off my chest. And I think I'm 1,000% right on this. So mainstream media, I'm going to refer back to a very old song of mine, Devil Without a Cause. When I say,
Yes, I believe you've seen. He seems not to be happy with the way the mainstream media ignore this story. This is not what they want to see. They like to see scandal. They like to see people dividing. That is where they draw their attention. But I believe that a lot of people still pick this up and it went around on social media. Now taking a look at what Danny White said about this on Fox News with Lara.
If I don't want to be there by myself, will you fly out here? And
Well, tell me about the dinner, because this is probably the most famous dinner to happen in the past year or plus.
so the first thing that happens is Bill Maher walks in into the Oval Office, and me and the president were in there, and he has a piece of paper with every name that the president has called him over the last, however many years. There were like 100 names on this list. And it was hilarious. Thank God he had two of them, because I had them both sign it, and I'm getting it framed and hanging it in my office. But I think the coolest thing about that meeting and that dinner was two guys who have not liked each other for a very long time, two guys who have many opposing views, got together and sat down and talked, and they talked about a lot of things that they agree on and a lot of things that they disagree on. But Kid Rock and I always say, and you know this better than anybody, nobody walks into a meeting or a dinner with Donald Trump and walks out and doesn't like him. It's impossible. And if you say you don't, you're lying. You're lying. So Bill Maher walks in and he's like, first of all, the president is all over me all the time because I don't wear a suit when I go to these things. So Bill Maher walks into the Oval Office and he's like, there's no way in hell I was showing up without a suit on. And I didn't have a suit on. And Bill Maher looks at me and he goes, this is definitely from the Zelensky collection.
Oh my, that's a pretty good start.
It's
That's a good
start.
way to start.
It was hilarious. It was funny. It was fun. There was a lot of really good and smart conversation that went back and forth between him and the president. And Kid Rock and I just sort of sat there and let those two have their time together.
Wow.
It was awesome.
I wonder if you have a person like Bill Maher come out of a meeting with President Trump and it's all very positive. It kind of feels like, maybe we're heading towards a place, Dana, where this country can unify. If those two can get in a room together and get along, does it give you hope?
But that's what needs to happen. People do with opposing views. Instead of everybody hating each other, get together, talk, disagree. It's okay to disagree. Yeah. There's never going to be a case where you agree with everything that anybody says, your friends, your family, and definitely not the president of the United States.
Let me ask you.
Doesn't mean you have to hate each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I have been saying this for a very long time that I understand why Laura is angry, that a lot of people actually appreciated the reasons why Maher took up with Kid Rock to have dinner. Laura is not happy seeing people talking good about this. I don't get the point. Laura has a problem with Maher. They have a pending case. If you've been following this channel, you realize I did a couple of videos where Maher once made a joke like Laura is the one. Maybe she is the one having an affair with Trump. Laura took offense that time. I think it was during that campaign period. And Sue Maher, till they are battling this. Laura now want to see every person who agree or struggle to appreciate what Maher did recently, visiting the White House, like it's a bad idea. I want you to know what you think. Is Laura okay to call out people appreciating this visit, or what exactly? When you take a look at Kid Rock, the man seems to be really different on this clip.
As you know, 12 days ago, I had dinner with President Trump, a dinner that was set up by my friend Kid Rock, because we share a belief that there's got to be something better than hurling insults from 3,000 miles away. And let me first say that to all the people who treated this like it was some kind of summit meeting, you're ridiculous. Like I was going to, and he gave me a bunch of hats, but he didn't ask me to take a picture in one, which you get a certain amount of cult followers for anything, and then the true believers never die. I mean, a lot of people would say right now the Democratic Party is still in that mode, which is going to render them possibly an irrelevant party if they don't change. Yes, I'm a free speech guy up and down the line, but I didn't think that the head guy would be like retweeting the worst. I never felt I had to walk on eggshells around it.
Registration Act is.
Thank you guys for sharing out my videos. God bless you abundantly. Please share the video. If you see any clip after this, know that it is for the YouTube algorithm.
Generally called insider trading, and that would
I know better than anybody. Forget about the economists who know better. Forget about people who know history. I alone can fix it.
Have a great day, everyone. Take a little time to enjoy the view. And remember, the resistance is real. You're not alone.
Has anyone else noticed how women on the left are the most miserable group of people? So
Harris is not president. Trump is. And if you don't like him, folks,
Starting on.
wish the
and a lot of people who
didn't vote.
And finally, new rule to those on the right.
Isn't exactly getting the hero's welcome.
Fact that the Americans finally realized what the reality was.
This is a Fox News alert, a crushing blow for Democrats who had hoped against hope.
Brad Schimmel, that has included Elon Musk pouring tens of millions of dollars.
I think you saw a repudiation of the fact that.
Do you think the Republican takeaways tonight are going to. The margin right now, Randy Fine.
Everybody, he had.
Listen, folks, I'm sick of the Democrats.